All right. Good morning, everybody. Nice turnout today. Thanks very much. We had over 100 people sign up, and so far there's 46 of you arrived. Just with the webinar, obviously we're going to be showing you the stuff that's on my screen, and I'm going to be talking to you and hopefully informing you on all the things related to iXBRL. If you can hear me, would you mind just raising your hand so we can just do a quick sound check? Okay, a couple of hands go up. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, right. Looks like everyone can hear me. That's cool. All right, well, thank you very much for attending. iXBRL is a new thing, and it's something that CIPC have been working on for a while, and it's been applicable for a while now, since the 1st of July. But what is it all about? Well, it's been quite a road for us as developers. We got involved in this quite a few months ago, and we've had a lot to learn. And as I say, it's been quite a journey, and we've become pretty au fait with what's going on now in the whole iXBRL scene. There are other service providers out there as well, but our client base has been the small to medium-sized accounting practice, and we've wanted to try and help them where they need help. And this iXBRL is definitely a thing where they need help, because it's complicated and it's a very steep learning curve. But what is it all about? Let's just pull across my other screen here. And okay, it's all about the CIPC, and it's all about, as they say here, is driving financial compliance in the digital era. And certainly we're in that digital era right now. And everyone has a hunger for data. And so what CIPC have embarked on is a project to get the data in a digital format into their systems, into their database systems, and to be able to then use that data to, in their case, is first check compliance. Okay, that's their job. Their job is to make sure that we all complying with the Companies Act. So that's from the auditors, the accountants, the preparers, the directors. It's all about compliance. Their job is to make sure that we are all compliant. And what they've done here is they've decided we're going to gather all this data in a digital format, and we're going to check on compliance. So when you submit your annual return, now there's data going into the system, and they can check, is an annual return been submitted? Okay, that's the first level of compliance. Then, were the financial statements or the financial accountability supplement included in that data? That's the next level of compliance. And if it's not, then they can act on it and they can do something about it. So it's a huge data gathering exercise. Obviously, all companies and CCs have to submit financial accountability supplements or annual financial statements. Okay, it's one or the other, not both, one or the other. The financial statements part only applies to a very small subset of the total companies. We're talking total companies, 1.8 million of them, and only about 100,000 of them, so less than 0.5%, need to actually comply with iXBRL annual financial statements. But we'll get onto all that in a moment. Okay, so what is XBRL? Okay, and you'll see that the terms iXBRL and XBRL used interchangeably in all the documentation, which is a little irritating for me, because XBRL and iXBRL are actually two different things. XBRL is this one, Extensible Business Reporting Language. That is a machine readable format, whereas iXBRL is XBRL inside a web page that is human readable format. I'll give you an example. Here's just a demo XBRL file that we're going to be working with just now. You can see this is human readable. Okay, so there's a whole lot of details about the company. If we run down here, we've got a statement of financial position and we've got a whole lot of numbers. Now that's human readable. So this is iXBRL. What is underneath this? Okay, if I right click in my browser and I go to view page source, you'll see this is the actual source of the file that's in there. And it's made up of a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of CSS, a whole lot of XBRL stuff. And when we get down to the data, let's look at something the income statement, the balance sheet. This is partly the balance sheet. This is the iXBRL stuff. So this line here, okay, just that line that hopefully you can see on your screen. I could make it a bit bigger, hey? Let's zoom. Okay, let's take a different line then. Let's take this item here, total equity. Okay, so this line here, oh, no, doesn't have numbers in it. So I want to find one that does have numbers in. There we go. Okay. This line, this is an iXBRL tag. And the tag is IFRS SMEs current liabilities. It's in rands, okay, ZAR in rands, and this is the amount, 319,409.13. That is the iXBRL part, or that's the XBRL part inside this document. So this is the part that the machine reads, and it extracts this figure into this database item. And that's what this is all about. So this is the file that gets submitted to CIPC. It can be looked at by a human, so you can look at it before it's submitted. You can check these numbers. Do these numbers actually agree to what's in my financial statements? And then you submit the file. On their end, they have a software platform which now reads the data inside this file and extracts it into their database. They can then run their own reports on this and check for compliance, because that's their job. Remember, their job is to check for compliance. If we have a look on the CIPC website, we've got a whole lot of documentation, a whole lot of information, all about iXBRL. And it's kind of overload. And so today I'm going to try and boil it down into, well, what does it mean for you guys? What do you need to know? So a lot of you are accountants, company secretarial practices, or company directors. You need to know, does this thing, this new thing, this iXBRL, does it apply to me? Okay, annual returns apply to everyone. Okay, if you look at this document here that they've got, filing AFS versus FAS. Okay, FAS is a financial accountability supplement. Sorry, our website, CIPC's website is so slow this morning. I've been trying to go to various documents and really struggling with it this morning. So it's trying to go there right now, but it's battling. Okay, let's see if I've got something here. Okay, let's look at this one. Let's look at their legislative mandate. Okay, so they can only act in terms of legislation, and they act in terms of the Companies Act. They were formed in terms of the Companies Act. So what's their legislative mandate? So it says here, their legal and strategic mandate for submission of AFS is prescribed by the Companies Act, obviously, specifically Section 30 and Regulation 30. And so they want to specifically establish a system to review the financial statements with the objective of monitoring compliance with the Act. Okay, so that's all things compliance with the Act. So it might be the actual compliance in the preparation of the financials. It can be compliance in terms of the annual returns, then the financial statements, and are they prepared within 6 months of the year end? So that's one compliance thing that they can monitor through this process. There's a social and ethics committee. If you've got more than 500 points on your PI score, then you have to have this committee. They can monitor that through this compliance. There's additional fields in the submission regarding who has prepared the financial statements, their qualifications. Again, there's a compliance thing there. So there's a whole lot of compliance that they can monitor through sucking all this data into their system. And that's what they've chosen to do. Okay, then they try to say to us, well, what are the benefits? Well, the benefits are really on the CIPC side. Okay, they don't have to key in all the data. They're getting us to key in all the data. They're getting the companies to key in the data through the submission of the iXBRL file. They say we can reduce costs and automate. Well, whether that's really going to happen or not, we need to wait and see. Certainly right now, if you've prepared your financial statements last year and you need to now do your annual return, you've got to create this iXBRL file. And that's going to cost you. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you time. And you're probably going to have to get somebody else to do it for you because it's not straightforward. Okay, but there should be some spin-offs to this, supposedly in the future. I'm a little skeptical. I just think it's more data gathering exercise than anything else. I did mention to you that they expected this year about 100,000 submissions to happen. So we are now 3 months, 10 days into this first round. We should have had close to 30,000 submissions done. I've just got off the phone with CIPC now, and they've got almost 2,000 that have been done. That's all. So it's running way behind what it should be. But there's a pretty good reason for that, and that is that their system has allowed annual returns to go in without the financial statements up to now. But that's going to change, and it's probably going to change. Well, they've tried to change it a couple of times. There was a notice here. They tried to put that functionality in on the 1st of September, which for some reason that didn't quite work, and they had to roll it back. And then they tried to do it again from the 1st of October. And again, there was some problems there. So it's currently still you can do an annual return without doing the financials, but that doesn't mean that that's okay. Okay, that still means you are not compliant with the Act. And they can at any time enforce the Act. They can run a report now on their system and see, right, who submitted annual returns without their financial statements, and then they can come in and check up, contact you and tell you to do that. They could do that at any time. Whether they will or not, we have to wait and see, but it is a possibility. Okay, so I don't want to scare you into it, but the fact is that if you filed your annual return without your financial statements, if you had to do these financials, iXBRL, then you would be non-compliant. Now, probably from the 1st of November, you're not going to be able to complete the annual return process without either doing the financial accountability supplement or the financial statements. If you guys have got questions, you can type them in the questions box. Sorry, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But obviously, I'm just here talking away to you guys. You might have some questions, so fire away some questions and we'll answer them as we're going along. Right, I've got all those questions will come up on this one monitor, and as I say, we can answer them as we go along. Right. Now I've just lost my train of thought. Okay, so we have this hard stop. You could do your own. Okay, who is this applicable to? Right, that's really a very, very, very important question. And this is one of the areas where there is so much confusion. I'm sorry to say, but the people that I speak to who phone me about iXBRL, they have not read the legislation. They haven't read the Companies Act, right? They haven't read the information that's on CIPC's website. Okay, some of that information is confusing, I must be honest, because they only look at things in terms of the Companies Act. They don't look at it in terms of other things. But what we did was we went to the legislation and we put together a flowchart diagram which shows you or takes you through a process of determining whether you are required to submit your financial statements, obviously in iXBRL format, with your annual return, or whether you just have to do a financial accountability supplement. Okay, I'm going to just stress again, every single company has to do an annual return. Okay, there are no exceptions. When you do the annual return, you will either do a financial accountability supplement or you will submit your annual financial statements in iXBRL format. Okay, it's going to be one or the other. There are no exceptions. Unfortunately, as I've just mentioned before, it was possible on their system to complete your annual return without doing one of those two things. But that means that you're non-compliant if you haven't submitted either your financials or the financial accountability supplement. I hope that everyone understands that, because there's such a misunderstanding on that point. Okay, if you look at section 30, regulation 30, it tells you that that's what you have to do. Okay, but who does the financial statements apply to? Okay, here's a diagram that we did. It's available on our website, itmates.co.za. You can download it, you can use it. We're actually going to be building a little program on our website that's going to take you through this process and give you a report as well. But let's start off with the first question is, does the MOI prescribe filing of the financial statements with CIPC? So that means in your memorandum of incorporation, is there a paragraph in there that says that the company must file its annual financial statements with CIPC? Okay, that is very unlikely. I've never seen one of those, because I don't know why anyone would want to put a requirement on themselves like that. But that is the first question. Okay, the second question is it a public or a state-owned company? If the answer is yes, so you've listed company or state-owned company. If the answer is yes, you must submit your financial statements. Because there's an audit requirement and an iXBRL submission requirement. Those two go hand in hand here. That's how the Act was worded. Okay, that's how they decided to do it. So that's what we have to work with. Okay, the third question is, does a company in the ordinary course of its activities hold assets in a fiduciary capacity, okay, more than the 5 million? Now this can apply in terms of maybe attorneys. So an incorporated firm of attorneys has trust assets there. This can apply to them. If those trust assets are more than 5 million, then they need an audit and iXBRL financials. Okay, next question. Does the memo or the act require an audit? So if you read the memorandum of incorporation of this company, does it have a paragraph in there that says this company must have an annual audit? Okay, no decision of directors or shareholders to be taken. This company must have an annual audit. If it says that, then the MOI requires an audit. Right, then we into the iXBRL submissions. When it says, does the MOI or the Act require an audit? I'm talking about the Companies Act here. Okay, only the Companies Act to be considered. It's not about the Phase Act or the Attorneys Act or the Estate Agents Board Act. If those things require an audit, that's not relevant to this particular question. This is about the Companies Act. Does the Companies Act require this company to have an audit? If yes, then it's an iXBRL submission. Okay, so it's not any other act. We need to be really clear about that because there's been a lot of confusion. I get a lot of questions and it revolves around this question at the end of the day. Okay, still, if the answer is no, so the MOI doesn't require an audit, now we're looking at the public interest score. If the public interest score is more than 350, then we fall into audit and iXBRL submission. Okay, quite clear. So you can see at this point, we're really talking about the larger companies. So that's why there's only 100,000 of them anticipated need to be filed, because over the 350 points. Okay, if we get to a situation where PI score is more than 100 and the AFS are internally compiled, so the directors compiled them, then they also enter the audit and the iXBRL submission side of things. Okay, those are the only ones where it is required to have an iXBRL submission. Okay, I've got a question here from someone. It says, even if it's not required for most companies, would it be good practice to just submit by means of iXBRL? Well, it's not required. Okay, so that's the first point. If you're in a position where you could do a voluntary, okay, we're actually getting to the next part of the slide where we've got in order to be able to do a voluntary submission, the company must have either been audited or independently reviewed. Okay, that's the only way you can do a voluntary submission, if you've had a voluntary audit or independent review. Otherwise, you have to do a financial accountability supplement. You don't have a choice. Okay. So as things stand in the Act right now, to answer Johan's question, you can't unless you've got an audit or an independent review. But why would you want to anyway? Because this is going to cost you money, right? And it's going to cost you money or time to do and create this iXBRL submission. So it's not a thing that you're voluntarily going to go for. The FAS is like dead simple. The FAS is a 2-page form that you fill in on their website, click the submit button, and it's done. And I'll show you that shortly. Okay, so this flow chart, this takes you through the process of who needs to submit iXBRL financial statements and who doesn't. All right, I'm just going to take a break and read a couple of questions here, make sure we've covered it. Okay, so a question here says, if we submitted an annual return after the legislation date 1 July without the financial statements or the financial accountability supplement, do we need to go back and submit those financials or the FAS? The answer is yes, you do, right? Because if you've done that, you are non-compliant. So you need to go back, log in and submit those things. And you can do that. We actually have a page on our website which shows you how to do this. So if you go to our IT Mates website and you go to the news page and you just got to scroll down a few items, we've got another flowchart there on audit review or compilation, which is quite handy. Very similar to that one we've just looked at. But we've got this section here on how to submit your FAS, or it previously called it, well, it still is called a COR 30.2. And this will take you through how you do that. So you go and you log in, you find this button here, you click on it, and then you choose, what am I going to submit? Financials or accountability supplement? And then you run through the process, and this will show you how to do that. This is what your FAS looks like. Okay, this is on their website. So you're filling in, well, a couple of things are pre-populated already, but you're filling in things like, let's make this a bit bigger so we can see it. Okay, so we're filling in name of person primarily responsible for recording day-to-day transactions, identity number of that person, person responsible for compiling the financial statements. Okay, these have got red stars next to them. They have to be submitted. The other ones that would appear are maybe optional or maybe not applicable, but you just fill this in. It's literally, what, 20 questions? And then you click on continue and it will tell you it's been filed. Obviously, with the information available at your fingertips, that literally takes you 2 minutes and you're done. Okay, you wouldn't want to choose now to file financials if you could, because that's going to take you hours. Right, so hopefully that answers that question. Right, then we've got another question here. If a company for some reason has not converted its memo and articles to the new MOI, okay, that means you're non-compliant already, then the old ones effectively become MOI, which means audit, which means AFs need to be submitted to CIPC. That's absolutely correct. Yeah, if you haven't converted, then you're in that part of the diagram. Let's just go back to it, where the MOI requires the audit, and then you into the audit required and iXBRL submission. It's as simple as that. So what do? Well, go convert your MOI and make it a voluntary thing. So make it subject to that the company can have an audit if the directors or the shareholders request it or pass a resolution to that effect. And then it's not a required by the MOI, and you can escape this part of the act. Okay, you can and save yourself some costs. All right, another one. Is my understanding correct that if you do need to submit your financials in iXBRL, it's for year-end periods from July 2018? No, that's not correct. Okay. When your annual return becomes due, so whichever month that is, so that's based on your incorporation date of your company. So when your annual return becomes due and you go to do your annual return, if you have to submit financial statements in terms of this diagram that we've just looked at in the flow chart, if you have to submit financials, which financials do you submit? You actually have to submit your latest approved, finalized financial statements. So if we're doing this today, and my year end was February, and let's say I haven't yet finalized my financials, a naughty boy, you know, you passed your 6 months already, but anyway, if we haven't finalized those financial statements, then we're going to submit the ones that were the 2017 financial statements. Now, obviously, when those were prepared, iXBRL submission didn't even exist. Okay, but you've got to get those financials into iXBRL format so that you can submit them. Okay, that's where we're going to come in and help you do that. So we have various solutions to whatever problem you're facing. And in that situation I've just mentioned there now, we would take those financial statements for you. We have what we call the white glove solution. And we will take them in whatever format we've got them, if it's a PDF, a Word document, an Excel document, and we will create that iXBRL file for you. And then you can submit it to CIPC. All right. So the first step and the first point is find out, is this company need and required to submit its financials in iXBRL format? Okay, and this flowchart really helps you with that. Right, let's close that one down and let's have a look at some other things. All right, CIPC, obviously we were involved in this. We, as a software provider to the profession, we created a software solution, and CIPC have been through an approvals process with us, and we are listed on their list of approved service providers. Okay, that was actually for our iXBRL Mate program. Okay, so that's a software solution that we can sell to you, and then you can use that solution to create multiple iXBRL files for all your clients. So there's actually a business opportunity here for accountants and company secretaries to do these files. Okay, there is definitely a business opportunity because there's a problem. We've got financial statements out there that need to be converted to iXBRL, and literally thousands of them. Okay, so we've got a program that you can buy from us and you can do it yourself, or as I said, we've got a white glove service that we can do it for you. Okay, these are documents from CIPC's website. So this is the Did You Know document, and there were a couple of points that I wanted to pick up on this, is in terms of what is it that has to be submitted. And in fact, sorry, it's not that document that I wanted to look at, it's one of the others. Okay, yes, here we go. This is one. So okay, essentially, it's the entire set of financial statements that have been prepared that need to be converted to iXBRL for submission. So that on their side, when they've got that iXBRL file into their system, they can have a look, and what they are looking at is your annual financial statements in a slightly different rendering. Okay, as I mentioned to you earlier, I showed you this version. Okay, so this is an example of an iXBRL filing that we would do. Okay, it doesn't look exactly like your financial statements in that it doesn't have all the fanciness of blocks around and added up and that kind of thing. This is it's a different rendering, and it's a rendering that a person can look at it and they can follow what this is about. So this is your statement of financial position. Then there's your okay, this one's not complete, okay, but your notes would be in here, etc. We'll look at this in just now. But it's a slightly different rendering to what your PDF document would be. Okay, your PDF document of your financials looks beautiful, all right, but there's no structure to that data, and there's no way for them to work with that data. There's no way for them to perform calculation checks on that data. Okay, but when it's in iXBRL and it's into their database, they can perform a whole lot of calculation checks, etc. So what goes in is your entire financial statements. And where they talk about data elements, and there's a thing called tagging. So those numbers in your financial statements get allocated with tags. And what the minimum tagging requirements are per this document is your statement of financial position. Okay, one or the other. There are multiples here, so it's either in current, non-current order, or it's in order of liquidity. Okay, I've seen both, obviously, of those as we've been doing these for people. The first one is the most common one, but order of liquidity is often used by banks and that type of thing. Then you've got two options on your comprehensive income. You've got two options on your cash flow. Then you need your statement of changes in equity and other assets. Then, in addition to that, we have what we call, so these are individual data elements that are tagged. So that's your figure for property, plant, and equipment. That particular figure for this year and last year gets tagged. Okay, two separate tags. In addition to that, we have what's called block tagging, where we take all your accounting policies and they get block tagged as one item. We take your director's report and that gets block tagged as one big text block. On their side, they can read it, okay, because it's text and it needs to be human readable, human understandable on their side. So it's a complete financials that are going to be tagged and then submitted. What is not acceptable? Okay, and there are one of the service providers who shall remain unnamed, but they know who they are. They have a, call it a light version of iXBRL, and they are not tagging the accounting policies and the director's notes. They actually just saying, see attached PDF. That is not acceptable to CIPC. Right? They mention that. In fact, I think in this block here, they mention that things have to be block tagged. Okay, it's mentioned in here, and it's mentioned in this document that I'm reading here, which is the filing requirements by CIPC. So that is not an acceptable thing to just say, see attached PDF file. It has to be included inside the body of that iXBRL file that gets submitted. Okay, if you use that software and you do that, yeah, saying it's in the attached PDF, that can come back on you later. All right, we want to try and avoid any comeback on you later, because that's going to cost you extra time and money. Okay, it might not happen, but it's not the way that it's supposed to be done, and so you're opening yourself up to the risk of that coming back on you later. Sorry, just need a drink of water. Alrighty, any more questions? Let's just have a look here. Looks like we're done on that one. I'm up to date with the questions. Right, if anyone else has got questions, please do type them into the questions box. Okay, so that's what's iXBRL all about, what needs to go in there. You can read this documentation for yourself. It is confusing. There's a big learning curve. There's a terminology curve. And this is just the beginning of it. When you start getting into the details of it as a software developer, there's a whole other learning curve. Okay, but you're not at that point. You don't need to worry about that. We've taken care of that. I've spent hundreds, probably thousands of hours looking at all that stuff in order to create our software solution that does this for you, or the white glove solution. All right, what did I want to look at on here? Okay, no, done that. Okay, happy with that. Just on that software providers list, I've obviously done some homework on getting quotes from different software providers who also do white glove solutions. A lot of them are overseas companies. They've been dealing with iXBRL submissions in the States and in the UK. Ours are slightly different. Their prices are dollar-based prices, and it's certainly a lot more than ours. What we've done is, just so you can see, we have created a white glove process. I see I'm kind of running out of time, so I wanted to be able to show you what we've done, the solutions that we've created for you. So we have this, what we call the white glove process, where we do the whole thing for you. So we have an engagement letter, the non-disclosure in it. Okay, obviously we take the confidentiality of these financial statements seriously. And so we included a non-disclosure in our engagement letter. So the process is that we will send you that engagement letter, you complete it, we complete it, give you back a signed copy, then you send us the AFS. And whatever format you send them to us in, we'll work with that. Okay, if we get it in Excel, we're happier because it is easier for us to work in, less errors. But if it's only available in PDF, we work with that as well. Okay, we have tools that we can use, optical character recognition. Sometimes we have to retype stuff, but we'll do whatever we need to do to get it from that in iXBRL. We only begin working on it once we've got a proof of payment from you. And our fee for doing this is quite simple. We work on how many pages your financial statements are. If it's 20 pages, our fee will be 2,650 Rand. It's basically 100 Rand per page plus 650. Okay, if it's 30 pages, that's 3,650. Obviously, add VAT onto it. But it's very simple to work with, and that is a very reasonable fee in terms of what other service providers are charging. So you can do your own homework, get a few quotes, and I'm sure you'll be coming back to us. We've done many successful submissions now, okay, ourselves and people who are using our iXBRL Mate program. They've also done many success submissions. So if you want to do it yourself, you can buy the program. That program will cost you 12,000 Rand plus VAT, but then you can do it yourself and you can charge your clients, and we're there to help you. Okay, there is actually quite a big support overhead for us in that, because further down the process here, you'll see as we go through and we complete all this information, we create an iXBRL file which then gets submitted to the CIPC validation engine. So it's not the real submission, but it's the same engine. And that engine comes back to us with any validation problems, which then have to be dealt with. Now, the guys who wrote the validation engine, they're reporting back to you of errors and stuff. It can be quite cryptic. It's really for software developers to understand and deal with it. It's not for man in the street to really understand what's going on there. So that can be a challenge, and that's where a lot of our support comes in. But through that validation process, then we will tweak the data or change whatever needs to be changed so that when we give you the iXBRL file back, you know that that file will be validated on submission. It will be a successful submission. Okay, it may say successful with warnings. Okay, but you need to understand if the warnings can actually be ignored. It's a pity that it's like such an alarmist kind of word to use, with warnings. It could be said like something like, a successful submission, and it doesn't even need to tell you there's warnings because the warnings can be ignored. Or it could be, it could be successful submission, with items that could be done better or whatever. Okay, but it sounds very alarming, and it's not as alarming as that. But we make sure that that file that you get back will go through the CIPC, and when they look at it on the other side, that it will also be acceptable to them. So we want to make sure that it is not going to come back on you later to bite you. Our turnaround time, 3 to 4 business days. Okay, we've got a little team here who's dealing with these things, and we're managing to get them back to you certainly within 3 or 4 business days, often sooner than that. But yeah, that's the anticipated turnaround time. Okay, the fees for that, someone asked about that. It's the number of pages in the financial statements times 100 Rand plus 650 Rand. So as I said, a 20 page be 2,000 plus 650 plus VAT. Okay, someone asks, can we submit the FAS and not incur costs converting to iXBRL? You can, as long as you're within this flowchart. Okay, so most people are going to be submitting the FAS. But if you go through the flowchart and you answer yes to any of those questions, you automatically enter the required iXBRL submission. Then you don't have a choice. Okay, that's what you have to submit. If you don't submit that, you are non-compliant. Okay, what's the consequence of being non-compliant? The consequence is that CIPC can chase you up to make you compliant. They can issue you with a compliance notice. That notice basically says, get your iXBRL file submitted, or you are going to be penalized from this date forward. And they can impose some very significant penalties. Okay, so basically, if you are required to submit iXBRL, submit a iXBRL as soon as possible. If you're not compliant now, get the thing in. Okay, if you submitted your AR and you didn't fill in the accountability supplement, and you should have, go and submit the financial accountability supplement. Just get things in order. That way you can't be non-compliant and you can't be chased up and be penalized. But CIPC are on a mission to get people to be compliant. Okay, they've been a little bit slack in the past. They've allowed things to happen. They are now on a mission to make sure that we get compliant. So it might not happen immediately, but there's the potential for compliance notice and compliance penalties. And you just don't want to be in that space. All right, so our white glove will do the iXBRL file for you. And that's really what I wanted to show you. We're here for you, okay? Alternatively, you can use our program. Okay, so let's go to our teammates website. And we have various software solutions, but this one, iXBRL Mate, is our program for doing iXBRL submissions. It's what we use, and you can buy it and you can use it yourselves if you want to. We have written extensively on the subject. If you go to our news page and you scroll down, you will see a lot of articles around the iXBRL. So we go down a little bit further. There was a flowchart, which I've mentioned. I wrote this article, iXBRL what? This article actually featured in a publication of one of the institutes. I can't remember the name offhand. The publication is called The Professional, and they published this article in there with the flowchart. Okay, the flowchart's really, really useful. So that article is all about that. This was about our iXBRL product. There was a webinar when we launched that product. Earlier, iXBRL explained. If you keep going down, that's the management team of our teammates. Just waiting for that to show on your screen. There you go. There's other articles as well. Okay, but we've written extensively on the iXBRL. All right, I see Astrid says it was the IAC publication. Thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, so we've got this program, iXBRL Mate. There's a training webinar on it. You can see how it works. It's been extended. Okay, we're going to have a training session next week on the new version 2, because version 2 includes your company and group financial statements. So important to note, if your company is a holding company, then your normal columns of group and company have to be included in the iXBRL file. So that iXBRL file has to include both of it. 2 lots of data inside one file. It's not 2 separate submissions, one for the group, one for the company. They've got to be together in one. So we had to take the program and develop it further to include those extras. So there's a little training video, 25 minutes or so, on how iXBRL Mate works. And then there's the stuff on the white glove again. There's the flow chart. All right. All right, I just want to look through here and see. Okay, already CIPC are talking, okay, we have this thing called the taxonomy. That is the definition of what gets submitted. And already they're talking about changing that taxonomy for next year. So there's things happening on that front, which we have to keep up to date with, and we will. There's no way to create this iXBRL file other than using a software product, okay, like iXBRL Mate or getting someone to do it for you. All right, here's another question. Right, what happens if the company is not trading and we submit the FAS? CIPC will then decline and say we submit the AFS. What do we do then? No, if that company is not trading, well, whether it's trading or not, it doesn't decide whether it has to submit the financial statements, okay? It's these questions to decide. Okay, so if it's MOI requires an audit, even though it's not trading, it's still going to have to do an iXBRL submission. Sure, those financial statements are going to show nils, but it still has to do that submission. Okay, if it's not trading, it doesn't require the audit, etc., and it falls into this category here, where it's financial accountability supplement, then it has to submit that. So you fill in the answers to those questions and you submit it. There shouldn't be any declining it from CIPC side. Okay, they want an annual return with either a FAS or AFS. Okie dokes. Just looking through my notes. Okay, I was going to take us through a little bit on iXBRL mates. I'll do that. I'll quickly do that. Okay, I'll just show you our program briefly. Sorry, I've just blanked off all my screens here. Sorry, I just got to find show my desktop. Sorry, just bringing my screen back. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is our iXBRL mate program. I'm just going to open this demo company so we can just see. And essentially what this program is a report writer that will create that iXBRL file. And the way that we work with it is we look at each one of the reports. So let's take a statement of financial position, and the label column is all the taxonomy items, and we put values into the value column, which is for this year, and the value for the prior year. And by completing those values, we're then able to go across here and create the iXBRL file, and this is what it's going to look like. So the time consuming part is the time that is spent getting these values into these columns. And we have come up with various ways to do that more quickly. We have Excel import options. So we can have, say, a set of financial statements. In this case, the financial statements are in Excel. We can link using Excel links to cells within the financial statements. So if I look at this particular cell, we have given it a named range, and that number will now get sucked through into here when we do an extract from Excel. So we have different ways of getting the data in there. When it comes to things like say, accounting policies, okay, I don't have it in here now, but I can open up the accounting policies here. Let's just go there quickly. Let's go to the notes. Again, I can take those accounting policies and I can just do a copy. I can go here and I go copy, come into here and I click on paste, and that will now bring in the notes, the accounting policies into this block tag. Okay, so this is that block tag I talked about earlier, where you can't just say see attached PDF. It all needs to be in here. And this is those accounting policies all in one block tag. And we do that for the notes as well. We do that for the director's report, etc. Okay, this one came across very easily and nicely because it was in Excel. And if it's in PDF, it doesn't always come across so nicely. We sometimes take it into Excel, manipulate it in there, and then copy and paste it across. Okay, so we just have to, you've got to work with each set of financial statements, and some are easier to do than others. But we get this all into this report writing tool. We create the iXBRL file, then we go and we do a validate here, click on validate, and that sends it through to CIPC, to the validation engine, and it will come back with a whole lot of errors. Okay, this is not a complete file, but it gives you an idea of the sort of things that come back. This first error is saying these annual financial statements must be either audited, independently compiled, or internally compiled. Now that in itself is actually confusing, because that error, it doesn't actually mean what it says in the English there. Okay, and here's an expression of the error in kind of computer speak, and these are the variables that are involved in it, and it doesn't always tie up very nicely. So over time, as we've done these, we learn what that means, and you will also need to learn what that means in order to use this program. But of course, you've got reference to us, so you can call us and we will help you through this. We use TeamViewer, we help you through it. Okay, but so there's a ton of errors that come up. These was the frowny face. These are just warnings, and usually they can be ignored. Okay, one of the warnings that always comes up is the public interest score is not calculated correctly. But that's not because I didn't calculate it correctly. It's because CIPC made a mistake in their calculation. So now they've accepted that should just come up as a warning and not an error. Okay, if it's got an error, it will fail submission. If it's got a warning, it will be accepted with warnings. Okay, and there's another type of errors as well, where they're invalid data errors. Okay, this file is not complete, so there's lots of them in there. But yeah, as I say, getting the validations through is another, it can be a time-consuming exercise. But we're going to do a webinar on this next week, I think same time, and we'll send out a notice of it on how to actually use this iXBRL made program to create these iXBRL files. Right, any questions on that? Okay, here's a question. Is it correct that no closed corporations will be required to submit the AFS? No, that's not correct. Okay, again, it's all about the spreadsheet. I mean, this flowchart. Okay, this applies to companies and CCs. So if the CC has a PI score more than 350, it's going to need an audit and an iXBRL submission. Okay, so it's not a case of CCs are exempt. CCs fall into exactly the same category as companies. Okay, another one is, how would we submit a signed Excel AFS file to you for submission? Sorry, might be a silly question. Well, it's not a silly question. You don't need to give us a signed AFS file. When the submission goes through to CIPC, basically what you're doing, the person who's submitting it, is saying this iXBRL file, which doesn't contain any signatures of any kind, right? It's got no images in it. It's purely just text. You're saying this is a valid, true representation of those signed financial statements. So the person who's doing the submission, they are responsible for that compliance. They're responsible for getting the right file submitted. And you need to make sure that the information that you give to us is the right information. Then we'll make sure that that information gets into the XBRL file. That goes back to you. You check it as well. Make sure you're happy with it, and then you submit it. All right. Any more questions? I hope that you're all going to go away understanding what iXBRL is okay? But also really who it applies to, because that's where most of the confusion comes in, is does this apply to me? And it's no good just assuming. Our assumptions are normally wrong. Let's go back to the Act and let's check it out. Let's see what the Act says. Okay, and this flow chart was built from the Act. So these are the questions that you need to be asking to know whether I must do a FAS or iXBRL financials. And remember, very few people need the iXBRL financials. Okay, so you're probably going to fall into that category of FAS. Cool. I'm gonna wrap it up and say that's the end of my presentation. If there are any other questions, I'll just hang around here for a little bit. And we will make this recording available, and we'll put that on our website. And yeah, if you've got any questions even after this, you can email me, and I will answer you by email or phone you. Or if you've got any questions you want to chat, if you want some help with things, if you want to know how you could maybe use iXBRL Mate to provide this kind of white glove service to your clients, please phone us. We're here to help you, right? We've made the program available. We created the program to use it ourselves, but we've made it available so you can use it too. Alrighty. Thank you for all the thank yous. It's always nice to get those thank yous coming in. Okay. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks everyone. A lot of names attending today that I don't recognize as users of our other products. So really it's great to have so many new faces here, or new names. Obviously I don't see your faces. Thanks for attending. Hey, thanks, Delray. Delray says, I must tell you this, okay? I've submitted a second file using your program to CIPC, and the support from RT Mates is great. That's awesome, Delray. That's exactly what we want to do.